Are you still catching up from losing that precious hour of sleep following daylight savings? Well, rivaling the FOMO, or fear of missing out trend, there's a new hashtag, JOMO, and it makes it acceptable to take a pass on our social or work obligations in exchange for a little extra sleep or exercise or just a break from technology. But how do we do it? Well, I've got two people who can tell us how. Chris Heisler is the Global Run Concierge for Westin Hotels, and Dr. Kristen Knutson from the World Sleep Society join us now from the Westin Times Square in New York City, and they've got some valuable tips and insights on how to find the joy of missing out. I love this term. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much.
All right, break it down for me. What is JOMO, and why does it have a great place in modern life?
Well, you know, this is interesting talking to Las Vegas about this, because I think Vegas really represents FOMO and the fear of missing out. So JOMO is the polar opposite. JOMO is the joy of missing out. It's about taking more pride in self-care, prioritizing sleep, prioritizing exercise, prioritizing that meal in front of you as opposed to just taking a picture of that meal in front of you. JOMO is catching up. And I think what we're noticing, and again, it's unique to Vegas to some extent, is that people who travel say that they sleep less on the road. Look no further than Vegas, where I think sleep is perhaps not a priority. And what I think JOMO is trying to say is maybe you want to make it a priority. You might be more productive, you're going to wake up feeling more rested, and you're probably going to have a better day. But I am not the sleep expert. The sleep expert is sleeping right next to me, and I think what we've learned at Westin is that if you really want to do the best job of taking care of yourself, it starts with a good night's sleep.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And Doctor, maybe you can, contribute to this idea. So it's not only, Chris, people who visit Vegas who don't get sleep, it's those of us who live and work here. The problem is we have so many opportunities to take part in these exciting, events, openings of restaurants and shows, that we too have to struggle with getting enough sleep. But remind us, Doctor, why it is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Prioritizing good quality sleep is really important for both your physical and mental well-being. And good quality sleep is made up of three things. It's duration, which should be about 7 to 8 hours for most adults per night, as well as depth and continuity. And that means the goal should be trying to get deep, uninterrupted sleep that is long enough for you to wake up feeling refreshed and alert the next day. And I have 3 tips for you to try to achieve this.
Oh, great.
First, try to turn off your electronic devices at least an hour before bed. Most of us like to check our email or social media right before bed, but that light exposure can really make it difficult to fall asleep and stay asleep. Another good idea is to get outside, especially in the morning, and this is true when you're traveling or after daylight saving time, because light exposure, sunlight, really helps to reset and maintain your body clock. It can also increase your alertness levels. And finally, if you're really struggling during the day, taking a short 10 to 15 minute nap can help increase your alertness levels and improve your mood, but try to avoid longer naps because that'll actually increase your grogginess.
Oh, great tips. Thank you so much. It's interesting. We are consistently now hearing turn off the electronic devices an hour before bedtime because of that light exposure. I think that is something that is, established as important these days. Chris, maybe you can speak to some tips also for how to get rest while traveling. So I'm one of those people who, if I don't have a good pillow in a hotel, it can seriously interrupt my sleep. But there are a few things that we can do to also take advantage when we are traveling of getting as much sleep as possible.
Yeah, I totally hear you. I basically travel for a living. And I've been doing this for almost 6 years now. My first 2 years on the job, I was not a good sleeper. What I've learned over time is that if I can take the routine and the rituals I've established at home and bring them with me on the road, I'm more likely to get a good night's sleep. And ironically, one thing that I've learned was from the road. So Westin has complimentary lavender balm next to our bed. And I started rubbing that on my wrist before I go to bed and on my forehead. And I now do that at home, and it's just become part of my ritual. I do that. I don't use technology before I go to bed. I try to read a book before I go to bed. And most importantly, I simply prioritize a good night rest. I think when we travel, I can only speak for myself, I used to think, well, I had to do everything. I'm only in the city for 3 nights, so I'm going to stay out late. I'm going to visit all the restaurants. I'm going to visit every place. Now I think I'm flipping that a little bit because I recognize that if I do get 8 hours of sleep that night, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to be more productive that day, and maybe I'm going to see the sights in a different way, but at least I'm going to be refreshed when I'm doing it.
Dr. Knudsen and Chris, thank you so much. I can't even tell you, I am totally behind this movement.
Great.
Excellent, excellent.
Absolutely. It is the joy of missing out, folks. Take a little more time to sleep, to move, and to relax. For more information on how, visit the website westin.com/sleepwell. Westin Hotel and Resorts are a proud sponsor of the Morning Blend.